Hello, welcome to this very special edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at the Bowery Electric here in New York City. For 4 decades, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer and keyboardist Bernie Worrell has given the world his very unique style of keyboard and piano playing with the legendary Parliament-Funkadelic with Bootsie Collins and George Clinton. He's also played with the legendary Talking Heads as well as Black Rock Johnson featuring Mos Def and Will Calhoun. But tonight he's playing selections with his orchestra, and this new project is a standards jazz recording, and it's still the same Bernie, but it's him playing traditional jazz standards like Take 5 to Take the A Train. And we're going to sit down and talk about, one, what started him to record this project, and two, we're going to talk about how he developed his unique keyboard and piano style, and also his time with the legendary Parliament-Funkadelic as well as the Talking Heads. I never in a million years would think that the Dr. Wu would be playing a jazz project. And Evan, I just want to say that you did a fantastic job of putting this together with Bernie. How did you think about putting this together?
Well, I knew I always wanted to work with Bernie, and I went through a phase of being really into jazz and standards, so really wasn't much of a story behind it. I just decided to pair the two together and contact Bernie, and he was interested, so we went from there.
You're a relatively young guy. I mean, what do you know about Take the A Train and Take 5? I mean, because this is of Bernie's generation, and he kind of brought it into Bernie's terms in a contemporary and a very rogue vogue.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think standards kind of cross all generations, because I grew up hearing these songs on TV, in movies. I had early exposure to them. I think my generation too. Just they're born into this kind of music.
Bernie, what was it like, putting together this as your first real jazz project?
I really didn't put it together. That's not my forte. This man, Evan Taylor, did all the footwork and whatnot, the musicians and whatnot. I put together as far as playing. That's what I do. And Evan would suggest something, I think about it, and then we agree. We haven't had any disagreements. I don't think. You suggest, people suggest, and I say yes or no, and I'm easy. Sometimes But you know, when it's there, you know, I don't have that much to say. I speak by playing.
Were these the songs that you wanted to play?
Yeah, we had pre-production at Evans, and he made suggestions, and he asked me what I think of. Then I had to go back in the memory banks and say, well, because I haven't played that stuff since college days, or you know, I know the song, but I haven't in years. You know, I haven't played it. Like in cocktail lounges back in the college days. So I said, okay, Watermelon Man, that's one of my favorites. He got my brain to go back. And we came up with a list.
Listening to this project, I really admired the fact that you really went into the whole vernacular of jazz, whether it's Watermelon Man to Take Five to Killer Joe. And this was the music that your parents grew up listening to and you grew up playing and listening to growing up in New Jersey.
I actually started playing it after I got away from home and went to college. That's where I started playing in the nightclubs. I had heard it at my parents' house, but I was not allowed to. It was strictly classical, but I'd sneak and turn the radio stations on, and I heard, you know, other stuff besides classical. And I was raised Catholic in the Gregorian chants and whatnot, and the church. My mother's Baptist, but when I got away out the house, and because I was born with perfect pitch, and anything I hear I could play. So when I went away to college, that's when I broke free, so to speak.
What was some of the music or the musicians, and even if you grew up listening and playing classical, what were some of your influences?
Ray Charles, Jimi Hendrix, Thelonious Monk, which people say I remind them of him, and I like that fact too. Plus, he wears different hats. With Miles, there's a lot. Santana, Stevie, Beatles, Crosby, Stills, Nash. Oscar Peterson, it's Jobim, Bob Marley. I'm a reggae man.
Bernie, you mentioned some very prolific piano and musicians. I mean, you said Ray Charles, you said Thelonious Monk and Oscar Peterson. What was it those pianists brought to the table musically to you? What was it in their styles that said and spoke to you about?
The funk, the versatility, the technique, the going outside, the loneliness. I like to go outside. I like to go sideways. Dissonance. Everything can't be constant, so I take it to the left or to the right, you know. Make people laugh. That's why I took cartoon music or put a little ditty in the middle of something serious. You know, all serious and whatnot. I gotta play, have fun. So it makes people smile. I see it happening. Or the unexpected. Or when you're playing something, all of a sudden, don't play the beat they think you're gonna play. You lay out. And then that's rhythm.
Describe developing your piano style and your keyboard style, because you were really the crux of a generation of soul and rock musicians that really emulate or trying to emulate you now from the 80s on until now. You had given the world a musical vernacular that people just are very in awe of.
I don't understand that, but I don't. You should describe it, or I just play. Whatever comes to my head, what God sends me. Keith Richards said once that I have what's the word? Intuitive. I just know what to do whenever I do it. It just comes. It's not. I'm not. I guess control some of it, but from the initial hit, because I'm known for layering. So the initial track, okay, that's that. Some of it might be contrived or a formula, but I'm just playing what comes. Second track, overdubbing, I can hear the first thing and just play, and everything just seems to fit. I don't, and I don't go into do this and just gonna go. I just play.
Because you do have a very distinct, we go earlier, we talked about Monk and Ray Charles and Oscar Peterson. They had their own unique style. You automatically knew who they were, and we automatically know who Bernie Worrell is.
I guess so. I don't know. I never think about it. People say that, and to me, I'm Bernie Worrell, and that's that. Yeah.
Directed for a great rhythm and blues vocalist by the name of Maxine Brown.
Oh, wow.
And you got your chops very early, and also when you were in college in Boston, you backed a lot of great musicians, Tammy Terrell, Pigmeek Markham. What was it about Maxine Brown that got you in the door? What were the things that she taught you?
I don't know. She was a showman, and another one of my talents is being an accompanist, because I had to do that in college. I had to accompany the opera vocalists, some instrumentalists for their promotional recitals, and their vocal lessons. So that's a whole nother art, and I like to back up. You know, I had that gift, and at the same time, accompanying, you back somebody up, but sometimes you lead them too. It depends on, you know, how the chemistry's flowing. Tony Bennett always talked about his pianist, his accompanist, and so Maxine was a showman. That was my first time on the road with anyone coming out of college of that stature. I was also the band leader for Tavares, which is known as Chubby and the Turnpike. I was playing in nightclubs. Jim Nance, he was the fullback for the Patriots, the Boston football team back in the day. And Jim Nance's club was our headquarters. And I like backing, you know. Back then it was a Hammond organ, and so you could have a trio. Hammond was full, like an orchestra. So, I don't know. Maxine was a great person. I met Judy, my manager and wife, through Maxine.
She's my daughter's godmother.
And I don't know.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at the Bowery Electric here in New York City. I'd like to personally thank Mr. Bernie Worrell and the orchestra for their time, as well as the staff and management here at the Bowery Electric. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Until next time, peace.